You know that feeling, right? It's the end of a long day, and the thought of making just one more choice, even something as simple as what to have for dinner, feels impossible. Your brain just feels like it's shutting down. Well, it's not just you. There's a powerful scientific reason for that feeling, and it's rooted deep in your brain's chemistry. So let's break it all down.
Does this sound familiar? You start the day on fire, you're productive, you're disciplined, but then 8 p.m. rolls around, and suddenly you're grabbing junk food, you're endlessly scrolling on your phone, or maybe you're just snapping at someone you love. It feels like your willpower just evaporated. Poof, gone. So where does it go? For the longest time, the story we all told ourselves was about some kind of personal failure. That we were just being lazy or that we lacked discipline. But here's the thing. The real story isn't about failing. It's biological. Your brain isn't being lazy. It is literally running on fumes. So let's just bust this myth of evening willpower wide open. Let's really get into the science of what's actually happening inside your head that causes that daily mental drain.
Just think about your days so far. From the moment you decided to hit snooze, or not, to choosing your outfit, figuring out which email to tackle first, even just navigating traffic. Every single one of those things, no matter how tiny, is a decision. And they all add up, creating this massive cognitive load on your brain.
And all that cumulative mental work? It leads somewhere. In fact, it has a name. There's an official diagnosis for that "I am so done" feeling you get in the evening. It's called decision fatigue.
So what does that actually mean? Well, put simply, decision fatigue is the measurable decline in the quality of your choices after you've been making them for a while. Your brain, just like a muscle, gets tired from being overused. The more decisions you make, the worse you actually get at making them.
And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. It has serious, real-world consequences. Studies shown that judges are way more likely to deny parole later in the day compared to the morning. Shoppers who've made tons of little choices all morning, they're much more likely to make impulse buys in the afternoon. Even top-level executives are more likely to approve super risky deals when their minds are tired. It affects literally everyone.
I'm going to say this again because it is so important. This is not a sign of weakness. It's not a flaw in your character. It is a predictable and totally universal biological process happening inside your brain.
Okay, so what is this biological process? This brings us to the key player, the neurochemical that's driving this whole thing, dopamine. And we can think of it as your brain's daily dopamine budget.
Now, most of us, when we hear dopamine, we think pleasure molecule, right? You get a hit from eating chocolate or winning a game. But that's really only a tiny part of the story. Its real job is so much more fundamental. Dopamine is the engine of your motivation. It's what helps the logical part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, run the cost-benefit analysis for every single choice you have to make.
And this slide kind of breaks down how this plays out over a normal day. In the morning, your dopamine levels are high. Your thinking is clear, it's deliberate. By midday, those levels start to drop, and your brain starts looking for shortcuts. And by evening, well, your dopamine signaling is low. The pull of immediate gratification gets incredibly strong, and your tolerance for risk shoots way up. And hello, impulse shopping and late-night snacks. Think of it like this. There's a power shift happening in your brain. In the morning, your prefrontal cortex, the rational CEO of your brain, is firmly in charge. But as the day goes on and dopamine runs low, control starts to shift over to the amygdala, your brain's emotional, reactive center. You basically go from being a thoughtful CEO to a stressed-out, reactive employee.
Okay, so that's the problem. And I know it might sound a little bleak, but the good news is we are not helpless here. So let's look at 5 practical, science-backed strategies you can use to protect your brain and manage your cognitive energy way more effectively.
All right, let's run through them. Number 1, front-load your day. Make your most important decisions in the morning when your dopamine is at its peak. 2, reduce the sheer volume of choices. Automate the small stuff. 3, take strategic micro-breaks. Let your brain recharge. 4, literally eat for your brain. Give it the right fuel. And finally, number 5, prioritize sleep. It's the master reset button for your entire system.
Let's just zoom in on step 2 for a second, reducing decision volume. This is all about automation. Think about super successful people like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg who famously wore the same thing every single day. They weren't being lazy, they were making a strategic move to preserve their mental energy for the decisions that actually mattered. You can do the exact same thing by planning your outfits or your meals ahead of time.
Now, What about eating for your brain? This is where it gets really fascinating. Dopamine is actually made from an amino acid called tyrosine. And where do you find tyrosine? In protein-rich foods like eggs, fish, and legumes. So that high-protein lunch isn't just good for your muscles. It can literally help fuel your brain's decision-making power through the afternoon.
So when you put all this together, what's the real secret to productivity? Well, it's not about hustling harder or trying to force more willpower. It's about working smarter with your brain's own biology.
The goal is not to somehow magically generate more willpower out of thin air, especially not when your brain is already totally exhausted. That's like trying to drive a car when the gas tank is on empty. It just doesn't work. This brings us to the real goal. It's not about fighting for more willpower, it's all about better dopamine management. It's about understanding your brain's biological limits and then designing your day to work with them, not against them.
And I want to leave you with this powerful final thought. The most effective, most productive people you know don't have some superhuman reserve of willpower. What they have are better systems for managing their dopamine. So my question for you is, what's one small system you can build today to protect your brain tomorrow?